What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit quick about Facebook revenue because their Q3 earnings came out, and it's kind of fascinating to sort of study the history of Facebook earnings and sort of see the track record. So 3 years ago, 27 billion annually. Next year, I think it was around 40 billion. I think that was in 2017. And then next year, 2018, it was around 55 billion. And this quarter, I checked out this video from Yahoo. I know it's backwards, so you can't really see it the right way. But if we look at these numbers, for Q3 2019, they earned 17.6 billion. And this is not going to the users, of course. So 17.6 billion to Facebook. Yeah, that's kind of high. So their estimations was 17.3 billion. So in 3 years, every year, they have almost 30% increased their revenue. That is just straight pocketed. Um, so, and then they also sort of showed that, for example, the share was up. What is that? Like 6%? No, 3%. So almost $200 a share. So when you really take a look at this, like how Facebook is kind of like the old school way where you had to have sort of shares in a company. But now, of course, with Steam blockchain, it's like instead of shares, you are owning a piece of the network. So we sort of start to see the volume of value that are in these systems. If Facebook is, I'm not sure if they're going to do like 70 or 80 billion this year in just revenue. And that's just going to one place. And it's all from their advertising systems. And no regular users are basically earning from this. The users of the platforms, they don't own a stake in the network as on the Steam blockchain. So it's kind of weird. It's super strange, to be honest. And I mean, I think a lot of people have seen that on Instagram also. More ads. You're starting to see it on Facebook. More ads. And the regular user doesn't really have that much incentive to sort of hang around. So it's super strange. And then we sort of see Facebook with all these regulation problems with sort of Libra. So they sort of want to make another currency, and they have these hearings with Mark Zuckerberg that is like 6 hours in length that you can go and watch on YouTube, where the regulators are talking about, oh, Facebook, they broke these sort of laws, they sort of did this thing wrong, and they had to pay, I think they had to pay a fine in billions for it. But because they're making so much money, it's like it's not even a thing for them. And they sort of they broke the law many times, again and again and again, and they used to like repeated that. And it's just fascinating how, for example, when people are going over this, oh, everyone is like, oh, buy the stock, buy the stock, but you're not really getting a share in the network. It's like the stock is just, you're not getting a stake in Facebook. So you don't have an incentive for proof of brain on Facebook or anything like that. You can't regulate like what shows up on Facebook, and it's just weird. It's just super strange how much value they're sort of making, and how people they're basically talking about it, they are not like asking any sort of question about, they are like on Yahoo, they are like, oh, you should buy this stock. but nobody's really talking about, well, shouldn't this value go to people using Facebook? And it's this very, very awkward relationship people have between each other in the old world, where it's like, oh, we are a private company, we're going to make all the value, and we're not really going to share anything back, and you're just a consumer, you shouldn't really own any share or any part in the network. Oh, wait a sec, we are gonna have this, like, the stocks are in a way just like, I mean, it's kind of, it feels like it's just a front to see to it looks like you own something in the system, but you're not really getting the revenue, right? Maybe the stock is increasing a little bit because some people are sort of buying it on the side, but just because it doesn't really empower users so much, Facebook, it's just people just using it out of laziness and because their friends are there. So it's like you're not really increasing proof of brain on Facebook. They're just appealing to advertisers. They just want to leech off of people that sort of already hang there, and the ads look not good at all. And I don't really believe the future is this like scammy feel that you sort of feel on Facebook with these like super scammy ads. I don't really think that that is the future, and it's just weird. It's just super weird. So, but we sort of see how these old companies eventually they sort of have to transition to some kind of more inclusive system, because if they don't, someone else is just going to come in and outcompete them. But they have amassed so much power, so they can basically buy up any sort of competitor and do a little bit whatever they want. And it's just strange to study. Like it's a really interesting time now in sort of history, and between Facebook, YouTube, and sort of Twitter, I sort of think that YouTube still is the best one of those three. But then you sort of also see that YouTube also they also have like massive things they sort of have to look at. They probably also sort of have to update a lot of things. But at the same time, I mean, when I'm on Facebook, it sort of feels like a joke when I sort of try to browse. If I'm on Facebook and like I try to browse, share, pay, like when people are sharing certain stuff, the whole interface feels clunky and annoying, and there's so much stuff that a person like don't really care that much about. But just because your friends are still there, it's like you don't have any other alternatives, and it kind of is working like a monopoly right now. And it is very strange, to be honest. It is. People don't really have that much choice at the moment. And it's going to be interesting to see how this is sort of going to evolve, because it is going to evolve. Like something is going to change because people are getting better and better devices, which means the cost to innovate is like cheaper, so they can like it's not that hard to like build something that is just a tiny bit better and sort of makes people some value, right? Because they're not earning any value from sort of these systems, right? So of course you can, if you like look up advertising and if you want to like check that out, you probably can make some value. I mean, of course you can, but it feels sleazy. It feels super super sleazy and like shady and weird, because as we get more technology, we shouldn't really get that much more ads. Like we should get sort of like a better product. And I sort of feel the same way with like Google, that like search results are almost in many ways they're just getting worse, and it's just strange. So it's going to be interesting to sort of follow this and sort of see how it goes. So, but it is going to take some time. But once the ball gets rolling, it's probably gonna change rather quick, because a lot of people sort of fed up and they sort of see a lot of the nonsense. Even if you go to news websites and so on, you can barely read anything these days because everything is behind a paywall. It's like they don't really want you. And same time as everyone is sort of trying to do their own sort of YouTube in some ways, like Yahoo has their own sort of video embed, and everyone is trying to do their own sort of video embed. Nobody's really looking at creating a better experience, and everyone is sort of half baked stuff. Everyone is sort of copying each other, and I think the winners are probably going to be the ones that just keeps on working and keeps on delivering a great product, right? And flip all the value back into the users. So when you have this machine that's gonna get rolling and like get revenue and get value back to people, you can create a very interesting machine. And that's sort of what you're trying to do with Steam blockchain. And yeah, I mean, Steam blockchain don't really have any competitor right now. Uh, yeah, so that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. 17 billion Q3 2019 revenue Facebook. I mean, that is a lot of value. Yeah, have a great day.